about to learn that short little lick there actually is several licks in one. It's kind of like a blues rock goes into heavy metal shred there. Again, a very quick solo. And this is the final video in a series that I did for you. I wrote this instrumental track real quick. I wrote this instrumental track for Black Star and specifically for featuring their Amped 3 product, which I got sponsored for a while back. And I figured, hey, why not come back and share how to play each of these rhythms and leads. So here we are at the final video lesson of this series here. We're gonna dig right into this, but real quick, my Patreon supporters, you guys have the tabs and the backing tracks to the solo here, and hang around after the lesson. We're gonna have a very interesting guitar chat, and I'm going to share my perspective, which may be a little unique and unorthodox to some, about playing guitar solos. Let's start by playing the lick out in the open, and then we'll break this down into about 2 sections. Pretty simple for the most part. We start out with this cool bend on the 18th fret of the B string, and we're going to bend up a whole step here, just like this. A couple of little things. I know this is just one simple note, but sometimes when you do those bends, you might get a little frustrated because there's string noise. You might accidentally hit some of the other strings as you're bending up. I will actually tape like my first 2 fingers here. I'm bending with my 3rd finger, and I'll kind of mute the strings along the way, especially that G string and the D string, because you're going to be kind of hitting that D string too as you bend up there. So I will take these 2 fingers and I'll just kind of mute those other strings. And again, it's kind of hard to explain, but just watch. If you see up close, and I'll zoom in here, you can see my first 2 fingers are really muting those strings there, the D and the G strings. If you don't do that, and you guys probably couldn't hear the noise, but I could hear it out here. Sometimes you'll get some string noise. So just a little tip on the bending. Sometimes also, another quick tip here is I'll bend it, but then bring it back and bend it again. You probably heard me do that on one of those. 2 reasons I do that. Number 1, well, it just kind of sounds cool. Instead of just bending, you go up and then nope, psych, I'm gonna bring it back down, then I'm gonna go up. So it kind of catches the listener off guard. It sounds cool. The other reason why I do that, it helps me get a better hold on the muting of strings like I just showed you. If I don't feel like I have a good hold on that, I'm like, okay, I'm probably gonna get some string noise, then I'll go back, get a better hold on that, and go up again. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just these little things that that have helped me that I at least like to share with you. All right, on to the other notes. The rest of this is pretty simple. It's almost kind of bluesy. I am not a blues player by any means at all, so I won't pretend to be, but it has that kind of bluesy feel to it, if you will. So here's the lick. So after we do that bend, we actually come down, but we quickly go to the 17th fret there on the B string, okay? So again. Okay, so we don't actually come down and pick that 18th fret. I go right to the 17th fret, then go back and forth, 17, 18, 17, okay? And that's the little, I guess, bluesy, if you will. If you want to call it something else, you feel free to call it whatever. But I just kind of threw that in there. It just seemed to fit at the time. Again, I'm not a blues player. I know a lot of metal and rock players were inspired by the blues. I'm really not one of those. But every now and then we'll pick something like that just to throw in there. Hey, if it fits, it fits, and that's really all that matters. But we are now on the G string. After we finish that little bend and those little series of notes there on the B string, we go over to the G string, and now we're on frets 17 and 19. We're also going to play the 19th fret on the D string as well. And I do a little half bend there, right? I mean, you guys can kind of pick that out. It's not that difficult, but I do a little half bend there on the 19th fret of the G string. And then I'm quickly going back over, right? So I'll do that little bend, 19, go back to 17, then back over to the D string to hit that 19th fret real quick, and then go back to the G string. And just a little quick, a little quick lick there. Part 2 of this solo is where we get more into the shred style here. So let me play this again for you. Now guys, one quick caveat here, and this is kind of a flaw that I have if you want to see it as a flaw. I don't quite see it as a flaw, but that's just me. I rarely play the same thing twice. In other words, I might write a solo. You may not ever hear me play it exactly like that, just nuance for nuance, note for note. And again, I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm going to show you some things that I do to sort of compensate for that. And we are going to talk more in depth about this specific thing that I'm talking about right now in our guitar chat. It's going to be a very interesting conversation, and you might not even agree with me, but that's okay too. But hang around for the guitar chat after this. So what I'm doing here, for the most part, is we're on the G string here, and we're going to be playing on frets 17, 19, and 21. Okay, so those are our main frets here, and we're going to shred those. We're going to alternate pick. We've been just doing the down picking up to this point. Now we're going to add the alternate picking in. Again, going from that sort of bluesy rock to this really quick metal shred here, okay? So all I'm doing to start this out, so I'm just going up, right? Those frets, I'm going up frets 17, 19, 21. Then I'm just going back down the way we came, and then gonna go halfway up, okay? Now we're going to head over to the B string, and we're going to play something like this. So it's like this. All we're doing here on the B string, we are starting out, after we do the G string notes there, we're starting out on the 17th fret. We're going to do 17, 18, and then 20, okay? And we're going to bend that 20th fret up a whole step. Now, again, I don't always play this the same way. I just wrote this piece of music, by the way, for Black Star. Most of you guys know, you've watched this series. By the way, I've got this series of videos for the rhythms and both leads. This is the last of this series. I'll have the links to all those videos in the description. But again, here's what it sounds like. Real quick, one more thing I did just now, talking about string noise. You noticed when I picked that last note and did that bend, you probably noticed my hand quickly go from here to here. Watch my right hand, okay? Another noise tip here. So I'm bending the B string. What I did just now is I didn't feel quite as comfortable on that note. So I kind of figured I'd get some string noise. So I quickly used these two fingers. I tuck my pick up under here. Use these two fingers to mute the surrounding strings, the G and the B string. So I hope you enjoy these little tips I throw in here. I know sometimes you're probably like, Jason, just move on with the lesson, just give us the notes and play this stuff. But I want to share these little strategies that have helped me over the years. Sometimes I forget to use them. Well, just now I didn't forget, which is why we had a very clean bend just now. So just something to think about. Last thing I want to share with you before our guitar chat is that sometimes I might not play that exactly the same way, okay? Instead of this, I might do this instead, and I'll share why in a second. The only thing I did different here is instead of picking that note twice, that last note that we're going to bend on the B string, what is that, the 20th fret? Pick it once. Instead of picking it twice, I went back to, what is that, the 17th fret, right? The reason I sometimes do that, and not just exactly what I just did, but something like it, the reason why I do that is if I play it too fast by accident and the notes start to jumble a little bit, it's like, okay, I'm playing this too fast, so I'm missing one more note to kind of make it complete, if that makes sense. Well, I might throw an extra note in there. And guys, it's hard to explain this because I really don't think about it when I'm playing it. Again, a lot of my solos, well, all of my solos, I'm really just making them up on the fly. Just like I made this solo up. I make it up, then I kind of have to go back and learn it. It's like, what did I do there? And I'm trying to figure out exactly what I did. Again, we're going to talk about that more in a second, but that's just one little strategy. If I feel like I'm playing too many notes, or maybe if I didn't play enough notes, I'll take one away, or I'll sneak another 1 or 2 notes in there to kind of fit the part of music so that it sounds good, so that it sounds whole and complete. Hopefully that makes sense. See, that was probably a little different from the first time and the 11th time I played it. You know what time it is now. It is time for our guitar chat, and I always enjoy this time with you guys, but real quick, if you do not have my free practice guide called Metal Riffs and Licks, download your copy of that. There's a link in the description of this video. If you have my free practice guide, get that first, but if you already have that and you haven't dove into one of my online guitar courses, well, I've got links for all that good stuff in the description of this video. One of the beauties about being a lead guitar player, in my opinion, guys, and this is where we kind of get into some maybe unorthodox ideology here on guitar soloing. Just my opinion, it's just the way I approach things. I'm not saying that you should do the same. I'm not saying my way is right and somebody else's way is wrong, or vice versa. This is just my approach. I don't always play the same guitar solo every time. I rarely do that, guys. Again, when I'm writing guitar solos, I'm just writing them off the cuff. I'm not really putting a whole lot of thought into it immediately. I'm just playing the rhythm and just jamming along with that and just seeing what comes out. I'm not thinking, well, if I play this over here and play that over here, I don't think like that when I'm writing music. You know, I don't think about theory. I don't even dive that deep into music theory, as most of you guys know. I'm not saying you shouldn't, okay? Please understand that. I'm not saying you should not dive into theory. If you want to, do it. But also don't let someone else tell you that, well, this is what you have to do to be a great guitar player, a great musician, or write songs or whatever. Guys, what I've found over the years, and this is kind of like in a lot of areas in life, there's not really a right way to do things. There are many different correct ways or right ways, or I should say ways for you to do things. And this includes guitar playing. Just because Joe over here or this person over there or Tom or Susie or whatever tells you that, well, you're supposed to do it like this. Well, guess what? What if you don't? In fact, you'll find that most of the renowned guitar players, and you could spread this out to renowned scientists, renowned doctors, renowned this person, renowned that person, they had a very unique way, and sometimes what many others consider the wrong way of doing things. But guess what? By them listening to their own intuition, right? And I believe if you have pure intent, your intuition will tell you the right way for you. But they had their own way of doing things. They had their own way of thinking, their own approach, and they didn't really care what the naysayers said about that. They didn't really care that somebody said, well, that's not how you hold your pick, or you should play exactly this note every single time. They didn't care about any of that. They went forward with their own way. Guys, this is why I strongly, strongly encourage you to focus the most on developing your own style and sound. This is so important as a musician. I believe it's so important in life in general. Be your own person, be your own musician, be your own guitar player. Don't worry so much about what others think. Now, back to the whole note for note thing. Some people may not like this. Some people may not like the fact that I played a solo this way, but now you hear me play it on stage or hear me playing it out here in the room or even given a lesson, right? I probably played the last solo of this video, the one you heard before we got into our guitar chat. I might have played that a little differently than the first time you heard it listening to this video. There might have been some little nuances that I did or didn't do. And guys, I've just kind of chalked it up as that's just the way I do things. Again, I'm not saying it's the right way for you. Some of you like to learn all the tiny little nuances and just mimic those. That's not a bad thing. But don't let anyone tell you that if you don't do that, that that's the wrong way, or that's a bad thing. Now, if you're playing in a cover band, okay, if you're in a cover band, you're getting paid for this, okay? If it's a serious cover band and your audience expects you to play note for note, let's say you're a Kiss cover band. I saw a really awesome Kiss cover band probably about a year ago. They were great. Now, I don't know Kiss songs well enough to know what the note for note is, nor do I care. We'll get to that in a second, right? But if your audience expects note for note, like I did have a friend, he was in a Pink Floyd cover band, I don't know if he still is, but I think their audience expected the whole note for note thing. Well, okay, well that might be the case for learning note for note. But if you're not doing that, guys, I mean, especially if you're not getting paid for it, is there really much point in getting frustrated over not nailing it note for note, nuance for nuance? I'm just going to say no. I mean, you're just doing it for your own benefit at that point if you just want to learn all the details. Again, not saying it's wrong, guys. I'm not saying that that's not the right thing to do, but it all just circles back to me encouraging you to focus on developing your own style and sound. I think guitar solos, for me, is just something that I create at that moment. What I play right now, what I played in the studio today for you guys on video right here, I can never recapture this exact moment ever again. Now I can go back and watch the video or listen to what I played today and learn it. Sure, I can do that. I played the notes, I did the little nuances or whatever, but what I'm talking about is a little bit bigger than that, guys. It's the moment. It's this moment in time. Like that Maiden song, Caught Somewhere in Time, which is a killer tune, by the way. But I can't do this. I can't capture the whole feel and whole vibe exactly the same. Now, it doesn't mean that I can't capture an even greater moment. Yeah, we can. We can do that. I can play this solo over there or on that stage or maybe on another video and capture a moment, but it won't be this exact moment. I don't know if this makes sense, guys. To some of you it might. I hope that it does. I hope that you get something out of this anyway. And hey, of course, leave me questions. Leave your opinions. I read those. We don't have to agree on this, by the way. You know, it's okay not to agree with everyone on everything. That's perfectly fine. You know, I want you to be your own person. I want you to be your own guitar player, okay? So I encourage you, again, focus on developing your own style and sound. Now, if part of your style is just that ultra perfection where this is your solo and you play it, you know, note for note, nuance for nuance, every single time like that, guys, that's good. Go for it. If that's not your style, if you're like me and it's like, I like what I did, but I'm kind of hearing something different over here, I'll keep the core of the melody of the solo, right? So it still sounds like a solo, but I've got something else brewing in my hands here, so I might just take off on a different little tangent there. Kind of keep it the same, but again, not every single note and every single nuance that I did before is going to be the same. And I just wanted to share this with you guys. I wanted it to help you in a sense that I don't want you to beat yourself up if you're trying to relearn something and it's not working out exactly the way that you feel like it should. I want you to give yourself the freedom to kind of go off of that path a little bit. Well, what else can you do with it? What else can you come up with? And it's not so much that you can't play the technique that you did this cool sweep arpeggio or whatever. You know, if that's a thing of the technique that you're trying to nail down, well, that's a little bit different. I'm talking about, you know, writing and playing guitar solos and playing with what you feel, with what's inside, just allowing that to come out, giving that the freedom to come out, as opposed to getting frustrated over having to learn every single little nuance and capture all that. Again, guys, I love these little chats. I love these chats that we have. I feel like we're sitting in my tiny 10x11 studio. I don't think we'd all fit in here, but hey, we'd make it work somehow, right? And if anything, guys, I hope that you just get encouragement out of all of my videos. That's what I'm here to do. So guys, drop any comments down below. If this did help you, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Guys, thank you once again. I'll see you on the next video. Until next time, as always, keep it metal. Oh, real quick, I'm gonna finish out the video with the full song that I wrote for Black Star, which of course you got to learn all of this by now, and I've got links to all of these videos in the description of this video if you want to go back and watch the other lessons. So here it is. We'll end with this.